Of course, on my own side, the Anglican side, yeah, we are liberal. We do a few things, compromise on compromise on others, compromise on others, and okay, let's have a break. Let's have a break. We'll return and begin now.
Eno ni Gangamka ku Baba TV. This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya. This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya. This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya. This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya.
Hey, Kari, we can now continue. Thank you, Baba TV, the Hot Cup at 9. My guest this morning is none other than Mr. Kasim Kamugisha. We are Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha. Somebody was calling you a doctor. Is that right?
Yes, I enrolled for a PhD.
You enrolled?
Yes.
Kasim, you don't become a doctor after enrolling.
Hey.
You become a doctor after completing.
You man.
You were a doctor?
Sir Simon. Sir Simon.
Yeah?
You can't be called the son unless you have shown interest. And the fact is, I will not fail that.
This is not politics that we call you honorable once
No,
you get nominated.
No, when you fail.
We cannot call you PhD. We may call you doctor and you fail the PhD.
It has never happened in Uganda. People pass.
People don't fail PhDs.
Where? Do you have any? Do you look at someone who can fail?
Oh, this is interesting. What an opener we have. Tell me, as a Muslim scholar, why don't you pay a lot of attention to your site in Namugongo? You must know this. There's no pomp there. There's no...
Yeah, I think this is very, very key to put to public. One, Islam is laid down in the Quran and the Sunnah. The Sunnah are the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is only in Mecca that we pay pilgrim. And yes, it's only Mecca that we pay a pilgrimage. And Baitul Muqaddasa in Jerusalem. Only two places, but Mecca is...
The two places, the one is Mecca, the other is what?
Actually, it is called Makkah al-Mukarrama.
Makkah al-Mukarrama.
The holy land of Mecca.
Mecca.
Makkata al-Mukarrama.
Al-Mukarrama.
Exactly. Then Baitul Muqaddasa, or the exalted house of Jerusalem.
Who is that one?
The exalted house of Jerusalem is the temple in Jerusalem.
But that relates to us. That's the Jesus thing.
It has got a very, very, very strong significance in Islamic development. Because when the Prophet Muhammad was ascending to heaven, that is where he began his journey from. So therefore, those are the two places you can pay homage. So if I was to guide, my guidance would be that, yes, we had 100 martyrs in those days in Namugongo, and so the site could be paid attention to as a tourism site. It could be enhanced and developed to become one of the tourist sites in Uganda for the benefit of our nation, Uganda, not for the benefit of Islam. And so I'm happy. Some people have begun putting in effort, especially the likes of Haji Muvawala, then the likes of the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council leadership. And this is a positive step in a positive direction. But I still emphasize all the efforts are towards enhancing that place to become a tourist site, not a worship center, as per the Islamic dogmas and doctrine.
It is of no Islamic significance.
Not at all.
You can't do pilgrim there.
Not at all.
Would it not be an easy way to shorten our pilgrims? Instead of Mecca, we go to Namugongo, especially for Ugandans?
You see, that
what is pilgrimage?
It is
remembrance of a significant development in your history. 100 men were killed.
There's something very significant with a pilgrimage. Islam has got 5 pillars. And one of the 5 pillars is paying a pilgrimage to Mecca.
Specifically to Mecca?
Specifically to Mecca.
It can't be changed?
It can't be changed.
No,
it's a pillar.
No amendment.
See, when you remove a pillar of this building, it collapses. So when you pull out one pillar of Islam collapses. And so it can only be developed as a tourism site, but not a pilgrim site for Muslims in Uganda or outside Uganda.
In that case, tuba tulambula ki for wasire Uganda tuba tulambula ki? Tugenda kukyala kulaba ki?
Tuba tulambula nga tujjukira nti waaliwo abaayewaayo mu Uganda ne bafiirira eddiini ey'Obusiraamu. Ekyokubiri tuba ebeera nga encouragement nti agendayo n'akiraba kugamba history nemukwatako kugamba ayongere okunywerera ku ddiini ye kubanga waliwo abaakola ki abaagifiirira mu Uganda naye tebeera part of worship. It can't be part of worship. Ate ne tuba tugenzeyo kubanga babaddeyo bannaffe nga bakulemberwa mu district kadhi wa Kiso Sheikh Elias Kigozi, tugenda kusabira kwabo abattibwa kubanga omuntu waba afudde teri kye yeetaaga. Teyeetaaga suuti, teyeetaaga byakulya, yeetaaga dduwa oba essaala kubanga eyo gyali bulamu kwegamba tera abumanyi. Aye tera amanyi olunaku lw'enkomerero lujja ddi. So omuntu yeetaaga saala okumusabira anywerere eyo gyali ng'alinza olunaku lw'enkomerero. So there is nothing in terms of religious significance ekiri Namugongo site y'Abasiraamu.
She does not apply nti omuntu ayinza okujja ng'omusiraamu okujja n'asabirawo omukisa n'asaba emaali n'asaba okutukuzibwa oba n'asonyiwa ebibi bye olw'okujja okusabira ku site eyo.
It's an Islamic principle. Nja kukyogera mu Lwarabu nkivunuule. Ma natabarrakuna bi ayi shay'in. Tetujja mu mukisa gonna mu kintu kyonna. Emikisa giva eri Katonda.
Kasim.
Yes. N'abazadde bo Katonda yabayisizaamu n'ofuna omukisa. Naye bo nga
wali mukisa gwe nfuna mu kutoola zakat.
ufuname empera, you get a reward.
Yes.
Yes. There's a difference between a reward and a blessing. A reward is a price for something. Then a blessing is a God-given gift.
So in Islam, you don't believe that there is any way you can get a blessing?
There is no intercessor in Islam. You pray direct to your God.
What then is Sheikh Umar Kumastowa giving?
You can't discuss Sheikh Umar.
The hot cup at 9, Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha, Deputy RSC wa Nakawa. I think this is interesting to put these kind of teachings together, because I saw in a, I visited Namugongo for the first time. I had never visited. I never taken it serious.
When were they in charge?
The Catholics, the Ginger Diocese, the Catholic Diocese of Ginger. So I went there. So for the first time, I went there to see, and like you said, I don't also believe that I can pray to any dead man in Namugongo for anything. I only went there for history, to see how the story is written and reconstructed. I also don't believe that there is Mukisa in Namugongo, no, because Nabafide Namugongo, we can't even guarantee that where they died for Christ, they actually holy in heaven. You can't guarantee.
You see, Sir Simon,
their judgment is different.
Sir Simon, every belief and religion has got its dogmas, doctrines, and principles. So, in some beliefs, the conviction is when you pray to a matter, you get blessings. And that is their position. You can't debate it. But in our religion, you cannot pray to anyone for intercession. You pray to God direct. So I worked with...
What do you mean by direct when you, in between there you have Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Nabi Muhammad, we also pray for him. That's why we say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
You pray for...
We pray for him because he's dead. He requires our prayers. And it's a command in the Quran that for you all who believe, musabire kuwekitiibwa Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Mumusabira busabira.
Exactly. So buli omu Katonda amuwulira wabeera kasita amusaba n'omutima ogusazeewo nti nsaba Katonda wange. Kyakyo kyaffe ng'Abasiraamu, naye eddiini endala zirina enzikiriza yaazo, and you can't tamper with it. It is their dogma, it is their doctrine. So I worked with the Religious Council of Uganda for some time. We respect positions of other religions, whether they are in line with what you believe in or not. You respect, though you don't agree.
Why do your dogmas look a bit strict, too harsh and strict? Not amendable, not debatable, not changeable.
You can't amend.
Don't you believe the word changes?
You can't amend the Quran. It's not a constitution. There's no provision for amendment. It was amended when it was being revealed, and the amendment door was closed with the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And you believe that as a scholar, a PhD holder?
That's why I'm a scholar. I gave 7 years time in that line. So when I'm speaking, I speak with authority. Si byakutomera byakukifuji baba Sheikh Umar Mulinde bana. Nabituulamu ne mbisoma.
Kelly, that's okay. What else can we do about, as now a leader, away from your... I see you become very passionate when it comes to Islam. But I think it's the reason it has remained strong. But the reason I admire Islam is its strictness on its dogmas. No amendment, no play around. We have not had in history any person coming up to say that we have a sect of Islam where we have 6 swalahs or 4 or 3. We have not had any attempts by anyone to say we shall now have our prayers looking down and not north. Such things are not actually, I think if you started it...
I heard it was somewhere in Nabidonga.
Nabidonga?
Yes.
Somebody attempted.
It could not sustain. Even Muhammad Mirza al-Qadiani, who was trying to to call himself a prophet. He could not attempt that, and he didn't survive for longer.
And you can't survive. For Muslims, you can't survive.
No, it was natural death.
Yes, but you can't survive, I know. It's natural.
It is a natural death. So, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Yours is no joke. It is okay. Away from what can we do? I was in Namugongo and the place did not impress me at all.
Yes.
Especially the principles of the place, the roads, the environment, the structures there. And I imagined how beautiful the city of Mecca looks like as a result of the many annual pilgrimages that happened there. And I thought the same effect would be of Namugongo, in fact the whole of Kira Town Council for that matter. But I saw a different picture. What can we do?
You see, Simon, we have to first give credit to people who came up with the thinking that the Uganda matters have to be dignified. In my own opinion, this is something which was well thought through. And I must give credit to the Catholic Church because it's the pioneer of whatever we see in Namugongo. And it gave it meaning to the extent that before the other regions came on board, all Christians, I can say, within Uganda and outside, we are converging at the Matters Shrine in Namugongo. So I must give credit. Then number two, the developments which have taken place in Namugongo for the last many years, considering when it was made a public holiday for that matter, in 1975, 76, it's tremendous. Because it began as a shrine in the sense of the shrines that we know in our villages. Because I was seeing a picture of the late Idi Amin and two Catholic, I think, bishops seated together in a real shrine, 1976. And when you look at it today, in a period of, let's say, 45 years, you see tremendous thought through and organized development.
It's major uplift of the place.
Exactly. Now, and you see, it is not conclusive. It is work in progress. Every other day, you see many brains coming together to make additions, and this is really incredible. Now, it's a bit tricky in comparing how it should be vis-a-vis Makkah al-Mukarramah or Mecca. You see, in Saudi Arabia, and for that matter, the Gulf states, they are basically Islamic states, because the principle is al-Islamu dinu wa dawla. Islam is religion and the state.
Yes. Say that again.
Al-Islamu dinu wa dawla. Religion is, Islam is religion and state. It's something fused.
That's in Saudi Arabia?
That's in Islam. It's a principle. It's a qaida. And therefore, sometimes I laugh at our brothers in Uganda who castigate Muslims working with the state. We are in the principle of Islam. Islam is religion. You can't separate the two.
Yours does not hide like ours, that
No.
you know, separate religion from politics.
Islam is religion and the state. Because religion is serving the soul of a human being, while the state is serving the mind and the body of a human being. Because whatever the state of Uganda is doing, it is doing it in the interest of Ugandans, not Kenyans, not Tanzanians. So therefore, whatever religion is doing, it is doing for the interest of the souls of Ugandans, because the religion promises you life after. But what about life now? Life now is guaranteed by the state. You must survive. That's the role of the state, to ensure that you survive and your property. So these are two things. So I know, Simon, this is too much philosophy, but this is a reality. So when you go to Mecca, and you see the progress, you see the developments, you see the architectural designs taking place around the mosque. Actually, even in Medina, because it is Mecca and Medina. This is completely the work of the state. It is the work of the Saudi Arabian state and government to ensure that those areas are uplifted the standard. I can tell you that in 2011, 10, 11, 12, Makkah was put down completely by the state. 2010, 2011, and 2012.
Just here?
Yes. We had come for a holiday here. When we came back, Makkah was on the ground. All the hills surrounding that holy mosque were put down.
By the state?
By the state. And there was now a new architectural plan. Why? Because for them, it is part of the work of the state to expand and magnify that place. So now when you come back to Uganda, it becomes a bit different. That much as the flag followed the cross, as we studied, but at some point, we try to separate.
How was the flag followed the cross?
Yes. It is what we studied it in history and SST. But along the way, we try to separate because we want to create comfort. We want to ensure that every person is comfortable in exercising his or her freedom of expression without interference of the state. And therefore, the state does not want to interfere in the activity.
Baagala nnyo olw'okuba temuva ku nsonga ndowooza abasiraamu be basinga okulemera ku maini kuba tewaliwo mu busiraamu temuli standby generator, temuli alternative, temuli escape route. It is ku main, tova ku main. That's what it is. The things we are set, and that's all. I think the reasons that the other sects of ours are weakened is that liberty to buli omu ayozaamu. Everybody has been given liberty to kuyozaamu kyayagala, and in the long run to mess up our own things. Kale, over the weekend, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was in Kyankwanzi with members of his NRM parliamentary caucus, and as usual, made his passionate plea to them to support him, mobilize citizens towards income generation, and he told them he has absolute faith in a Myoga and the parish development model. He told them the NRM has sorted out all the other things. The NRM has worked well on infrastructure development, albeit a few outstanding issues. He said, we have moved a long way. We have created awareness. We have restored love in our country. We have an enlightened population that knows what they want. That's why they are demanding so much, because they now know so much of what they need, but our people remain poor. Mr. Museveni told his hungry and angry MPs to go mobilize their citizens towards income generation. He had noted earlier that MPs are debt-laden, heavily indebted. Mr. Museveni said, mulina amabanja mangi, was told the MPs, mulina amabanja mangi, stop. Nkoya amabanja gamwe everywhere, mpulira amabanja, loans. You are heavily indebted. And said the reason MPs are indebted is that they have carried what is not theirs. They promise what they know they cannot deliver. They have become the center and point of reference for every problem in society. He said, let the public know the things you can do and the things that government should do. Do not carry a burden which is not yours. So, yabadde agamba abaavu abajjudde amabanja bajje batukunge naffe okwejja mu bwavu. Do you follow?
I like your eloquence. One, a person might be indebted, but not necessarily hungry. Yeah. So I don't believe that a person who determines his emolument is hungry. Because the only arm of government in Uganda which determines its emolument is the parliament. bebasalawo omusaala
True.
bebabasasula.
True, but they're also the ones claiming to be n'amabanja mangi.
So being hungry could be an understatement, but they could be indebted, because even countries are indebted. So we just have now to look at the reason why they are indebted. Could be a better discussion. And the president was right. One, every MP from a political party was voted on the pretext of the manifesto which the party presented to the people. A manifesto is, between me and you, we know, it's a contract you make with the populace that you deliver in your term of office. The problem we are facing today, I think, in African politics, and for that matter Uganda, is that people who seek for the populist mandate are diverting from their core mandate of implementing the manifesto to becoming the problem solvers of the community. One of the core principles of, for example, the government in power is socio-economic transformation with clear programs aimed towards that. You have got a parish development model which is coming, of course, with a few challenges. You have got a Myoga which is already running. And a member of parliament, for that matter, has got fuel facilitation every week to go to the constituency. To do what? To monitor the programs, because he or she allocated money for this project or this program. But you find people in Kampala, a month, 2, 3, they are not going to monitor the programs. So what will people do? People are not seeing you, telling them what your manifesto is saying. But because you have not shown the people what your principal and cardinal role is, now people think you are the funeral service now. Because whenever they call you that someone has passed on, you will send a bus. And
that's the problem. That's what we need to change, Mr.
Exactly.
Kasim. That's what we need to change. Like you said, yeah, the MPs are a funeral service.
Number one. Number two, they look at you as
an ambulance.
As an ambulance.
The MPs are an ambulance.
Because
the Ugandan MPs are an ambulance.
You have reduced your level from popularizing your manifesto of your party, irrespective of which political party.
An MP in Uganda is a hospital.
To the level of, it is me who can now facilitate a burial. Now, if these people had been mobilized towards a government program which can bring money in their pocket, then they are able to facilitate their burial. But you have left your principal job of mobilizing the population towards a poverty-fighting program, and people remain poor, and therefore you become their source of survival. So, finally, what happens, because we are talking about 100,000 people in a constituency, for example, in Kabale municipality, there is no way you sustain these people on your own money and you don't get indebted. So what the president was talking about in Chankwas, in my own assessment, is mindset change for the MPs.
Oh, not for us. Because this is not their own making. It cannot be for MPs. This is not their own making.
You see,
it's the population that has demanded this.
Me, I want us to share responsibility. You see, if we apportion blame and we don't share responsibility, then someone will remain in the comfort zone, thinking that what he's doing is right. Why is the population asking you to facilitate their burial, to buy a coffin? It's because you have not mobilized them towards having their own money in the pocket. And therefore, when they have no money in the pocket, and they know you are determining your emoluments in parliament, you are determining your salary in parliament, then they'll always run to you when they don't have that coffin. You see, Simon, there is no one who would want to call anyone for burial expenses because you have lost your loved one. You'd want him to get a decent burial. So, it is the MPs themselves, and by the not MPs only, even councillors in the villages are suffering because they are not popularizing what can make people move out of where they are to another level. See, the president has been talking about Okorere Chida Chonka, is our problem. Whatever money we make is for consumption. We do not have anything extra. So when you don't have anything extra, what happens? Then you become a beggar. And if the one you are begging is the one who should have organized it and guided you to have something in the pocket, then he has to finance because he wants you to support him when he comes back. But he's not promoting the manifesto of the party. I remember some time back, we put in effort to mobilize Myoga before I became another CISO of Kampala, of Nakawa. And let me tell you, Simon, I remember the president was in Kabale at Kigezi College of Butobere. We had mobilized around 9,000 people waiting for him.
9,000 for
9,000 waiting for him.
People for Mr. Museveni?
It's my estimate, but there were more than that.
No. 9,000 in one place.
Sir Simon.
9,000 people in one place?
Yes.
For Mr. Museveni? Which year was that?
That was 2017. How I wish you had the clips here.
2017. After elections of 2016?
After elections. You know, the assumption is,
okay.
But of course you saw, okay. We're moving forward. These people were there and they were waiting for the gospel of transformation. In 2019, he met them again and told them he will come back with a program. You see, in 2020 December, Kabale district was receiving money for the Myoga, 1.6 billion. But here in Nakawa, 1.6 billion. But here in Nakawa, Myoga in 2020,
President
Museveni was in Kabale on 12th of December, 2020 campaigning. On the 20th, money for the Myoga was disbursed.
2020?
Yes, because we mobilized the population towards that, and people are getting money. So it's a role of a leader to call people towards a program which can give them money with free interest. So that when they have lost someone, they have got some money in their pocket to cater for their programs on the barrier. But if you have not done that one, they will call you and you will become an ATM for their coffin. And finally, you will get indebted. So the president was saying, can the leadership at strategic level change their mindset in terms of dealing with the population? If the government is injecting billions in programs, why don't you mobilize these people to benefit from these billions? And finally, you have someone who has consumed and has got extra in the pocket and therefore can take care of his or her need without calling you. And in the long run, you save yourself from being indebted. So the president was simply on the mindset change. And you know, one of the pillars of PDM is mindset change. So the president was doing PDM in MPs. Sir Simon, mindset change is not only to our mothers in the village.
Was doing PDM.
Each and every person at his level needs a mindset change, because sometimes we think what we are thinking is the best, but you have to be tuned towards a progressive and guided thinking which can have positive results.
Is it not a problem of Mr. Museveni himself that Parliament is full of MPs who even need these lessons you're talking about now, who have plunged themselves into untold debt? I don't want to agree with you that the MPs did not know how they accumulated those debts. By the way, I can tell you for your information that the most heavily indebted MPs come from particular regions. Two, for that matter, Central and Eastern. MPs from the North and MPs from Western Uganda are a bit different. Either it is in their tradition or somehow they are not as heavily indebted. And the most begging voters, for that matter also, without fear or favor, also come from these areas. Central region, I think Busoga has the biggest number of people who beg from MPs. Being an MP in Busoga is horrible. Sacrifice, beyond sacrifice. It is you going almost naked because some people are demanding, and they demand with impunity. You must give. It's not about a privilege or anything. I don't know what has happened. Busoga, it's terrible.
See, Simon, I doubt your research.
You doubted.
That it's only particular regions where MPs are indebted.
Abasinga amabanja. All have, but it's different in those cases.
Where I could have a quite different view that, you see, we have politicized politics. Irrespective of which political party you come from, irrespective of the names we give to, we have commercialized politics, irrespective of the name we give to the monetary terms involved. But we have, to some extent, commercialized politics. And therefore, the being indebted cuts across, because there is an expense people are paying. Why? Because we have shifted from politics of ideas, from politics of manifesto implementation, to politics of who can give how much to take a seat. And this cuts across, from Kalenga to Kisoro, from Uvura to Mutukula, from Mpondwe to Busia, border to border, it cuts across. So, indebtedness cuts across. Number two, I would rather be surprised when we say that MPs in Uganda, for example, are heavily indebted. Why? Because from my own assessment, politics in Kampala, for example, Kampala region, there are politics of emotions. There are politics of running on people's emotions, and they vote you. Otherwise, you can't tell me that the members of parliament, for example, that we have in Kampala, and for that matter from the red political party of today, we are the best in terms of, or we are the richest. No. Therefore, I would be surprised if an MP in Kampala today is indebted because of the election he went through. Because the elections in Kampala are moved by emotions. How much you pull people to a slogan and you get voted. There was a wave. So how can a wave make you indebted? So therefore, indebtedness could actually cut across the whole country.
How can they not mobilize the central region around PDM?
Very good question.
When they do not have MPs, because in central region, NRM has virtually no MP.
Sir Simon, I want us to principally agree that when a political party wins an election, it forms a government. Mm-hmm. When it forms government, it becomes a government of all people, not of the political party. That is why today you have got, for example, an executive which is almost all-inclusive. Because apart from directly NUP, all other parties are in cabinet. So it is an all-inclusive executive.
What do you mean by all other parties?
Yes. Which other party is not in cabinet? Talking about the main political parties.
FDC is represented by who? Is an FDC man?
You see, if I say political parties, I should not point at every color.
But you believe that Mr. Museveni's cabinet is all inclusive?
In my own assessment, because the Constitution does not say that when you win an election, you form a government of your own members of the party. The Constitution says the president shall form a government. And that's why you see, me, I was happy when our senior brother, Honorable Mo, accepted to serve. Because in the principles of governance, when a party wins, it forms a government, and the government is for everyone. When you see our our honorable minister Among serving, the minister for gender, you see UPC is on board. And of course, there are other silent people who were picked and they're in cabinet, whom you might not be sure of their political parties because they are silent about it. But the point I'm making is, when a government wins, it forms a government. Party wins, it forms a government. A government is for everyone. Now, when you come to parliament, you have got the ruling side and you have got the opposition side. But the opposition side has got a leader of opposition who is facilitated by the state. Now, it's at parliamentary level that you allocate budgets. It's the parliament which allocated the budget for PDM. I did not see any opposition member of parliament objecting to the allocation of the money for PDM. Therefore, whereas NRM might not have members of parliament in
to mobilize in Buganda, in Central.
Whereas it might not have members of parliament in Buganda, but it has, there are members of parliament at the governance level in Buganda who participated in the allocation of the taxpayers' money to PDM, whom therefore it becomes incumbent upon them to ensure that this money benefits the ordinary man. Because at governance level, at the level of parliament, you cease to be an MP of a political party. You become an MP serving the interests of Ugandans. And so I would be surprised if an MP from another political party, not NRM, the campaigning PDM. Why? Because it's you, the parliament, who passed the budget of PDM. Why did you pass it if you wanted to campaign it on the ground? What was the motive? So logically, PDM is for all Ugandans. And I would be very, very happy to see members of parliament across the divide mobilizing the Ugandan population towards participating in PDM and having it a success. Because at the end of the day, this is taxpayers' money, which was allocated by you, the parliament, but also, you as a member of parliament, you are paid by taxpayers' money. Why would you want to benefit from taxpayers' money, from the consolidated fund, but you do not want my mother in the village to benefit from the same? It is your role to mobilize her and be part of the PDM. So my call would be that in some initiatives, let us put politics of colors aside. Let us put ideologies of the political parties aside. Let us look at what the ordinary Ugandan's life will look like if we all participated in a debate of socioeconomic transformation. Because when, for example, a Ugandan in Nakawa is doing well, you, the MP, will not be now being called to come and finance his burial expenses. But when you sit back and you say, this was a government program of NRM, I don't want to be part of it, then if this person has got a problem, he will call you. At the end of the day, you will be indebted. So I would not want myself and Muyanga to worry that we do not, the government has no NRM members of parliament in Busoga. We should worry about...
In fact, the ones you have in this region of Uganda simply want you to look failing. Kubala Baba TV program ganga mukade hot car part 9 cheyongerayo ndine deputy RCC wenakawa mkulu Kasim Kamugisha Sheikh twogera kubiri mu gwanga lya federal tutunulira mobilization ya PDM parish development model nadala muno mu Uganda yatugenda nti abaka parliament abasinga obunyi president Museveni yabadaga nti mugende mukubiza abantu bamwe benyire mutekateka ya PDM aba Buganda yabadde nabatono kubanga abaka bava mu Buganda basinga obungi bakino kya NUP kale wano ayogera n'abantu batono ddala batekubera nabo. Mwami Kamugisha, enjiri ya Museveni ya mugende mukole mugende terabikanga ekadiye. It's a tired message. He has said it over and over. It's a message that I have brought Bonabagagawale to work. I brought Operation Youth Creation, mujenyigiremu. 4-acre model, please come. Youth Livelihood Project mwenna mwenyigiremu. Now emyoga, now PDM is mobilization message on household incomes. Only changes names, but it's the same in format and tired.
Uganda is a very, very good country that everybody has got an entitlement to his opinion. And this is very healthy. Simon's opinion is very healthy. And of course, it gives a challenge. But when we go back to statistics, you can't tell me that the households which were in poverty in 1986 are the ones that were in poverty after 1996, when Ntandikwa came. And we must be aware that in 1996, people who benefited from Ntandikwa at that time, if they were 20 years, for example, if they were 30 years, today they are 57 years. A person who was born in 1996 is now 27 years. That person also needs a project which can help him take a step. And therefore, PDM is targeting such a population of 1996. Those who were born at that time because they were young, and today they form the biggest percentage of, for example, the urban informal sector in Kampala. So, every program, every project is designed to fit into a certain population at a certain time. So, Ntandikwa fitted in those ones who were there in 1996. Now, what about those ones who were not there in 1996? They need something also to cater for them. And that is the PDM. I'm not saying that those ones who were there before 1996 cannot be beneficiaries of the PDM. But the bigger population, which was born between 1986 and up to now, they are in the informal sector. And they are doing smaller business. And therefore they require some smaller money whose price is cheap. Because the price of money is interest. So they require money whose price is cheap to also survive in their smaller businesses they are doing, have something for consumption, but also have something for investment on the side.
But you know, Kasim, you are making we are looking at some of the things, the resolutions that our MPs in Ichankwanzi paid, that recoveries under the Myoga program shall be due after 12 months. That payment shall be effected for up to 24 months. Now, let me read that. Members warmly welcome the presentations and clarifications on the parish development model delivered by the National Coordinator, Parish Development Model Secretary, Honorable Galabuzi Sozi. You know, even at this time, when you have talked so much about PDM, MPs had a lot of questions. That's why they're saying they welcome presentations and the clarifications. Now, if there were still gaps in understanding and conceptualizing the program in the brains of MPs, how about the local people? Because that's what this resolution means. Members note the clarification and emphasis by His Excellency the President on the following. That recoveries and the PDM shall be due after 24 months.
Yes.
That payment shall be effected for up to 36 months.
Yes.
Now, this should not be things that Mr. Museveni is saying by mouth.
But now, Sir Simon,
These are things that we expected to have already been in the documents, in the concept note developed for the PDM. Because Parliament has already passed a budget for the PDM, and then they were in Chankwas asking for clarifications.
you see, Sir
Did they
Simon,
pass something before understanding it?
That the whatever we read, what you read,
Give it to me again, you see. Give it.
in my view, is not saying that the members of Parliament were asking or were welcoming a document.
Clarification is
Clarification.
Yeah, which means they pass a document with ambiguity.
Do you know why we go to churches and mosques on Friday and Sunday?
You want to compare the two to PDM?
It's because the gospel has to be preached, repreached, because you have to keep it in mind afresh. So at passing
I
the
think
budget,
I look at a principle of understanding.
yes,
So did the MPs pass the concept note and the budget and the funds without thoroughly understanding these? Because these ambiguities were major. These are major gaps.
you see that's why I said, why do we go to mosques and churches? The gospel is always one, but whenever they bring it out, you get something new. Even if they went back tomorrow, they will still have something to get clarifications on. So for me, I don't see any contradiction. What I see is the emphasis that the president is making on when people should pay. You see, people need an ample time to use this money, because you can't say that someone should pay after 12 months.
But after 24 months, you not get money.
Those are 2 years.
Kamugisha, after 2 years, somebody would have forgotten that they even have an obligation to pay.
No.
2 years?
Do you know why?
In Uganda?
Do you know why? You see, Simon, me and you, we are quite intellectuals. The PDM has gone through a process which involved mindset change, sensitization, which involved recruitment, which has involved massive sensitization of those ones who agreed to form enterprises. So these people know what they are getting involved in. But also it has gone to a level whereby the accounting officer, for example in Nakawa, accounting officer who is the ED for KCCA, will be signing agreements with the Ministry of Cooperative represented by the Attorney General for, it's called a financing agreement, of how these people will be receiving and paying back the money. So people are in something which they understand. So when you give them 24 months and you keep a constant engagement with them, let's have hopes. Because you see, when you stop being optimistic, then you lose the focus of what you are doing. Let's have hopes that Ugandans will appreciate this program as their own program, as their own model on the parish level, and they will respond positively. Yes, of course, we have got challenges with the former programs where they were interfered with, but the level of interference was not by these local people.
There was no interference. There was theft. Why do you, Kamugisha, remember you were sheikh. But the most important thing that...
But you have to be diplomatic.
Not on thieves. Diplomatic on
You have to
thieves.
be diplomatic, because some are allegations. I'm a lawyer, you know. Some are allegations. Some are accusations. So you have to be very, very careful when you are making...
So you fear to say that the past programs were stolen.
You see, when
the money was stolen.
When you are speaking to the whole nation, you have to be very careful.
But the whole nation knows thieves.
You see, a thief is someone who has been convicted.
Oh.
So you want to take me back to law? Someone. So there has been too much interference by the accounting officers, and that is why now money is coming from the Ministry of Finance direct to the circles of the people at parish level.
Can you, in your own area where you've been organizing now, speaking PDM directly in Nakawa?
Yes.
Have you organized groups that you think will able to absorb this money and deliver results? Yet you have spent 2 years talking about PDM. PDM, no money. PDM, the talking is like the return of Jesus. It is always soon, always soon, always soon, always soon.
You see, the question you have asked me has got two answers. The first answer is yes, because we have got 23 parishes in Nakawa, and as I speak now, we have validated, we have verified 10 circles for 10 parishes to receive the PDM. And actually, as I speak now, the director KCCA, Madam Chisaka, is entering a financing agreement for these circles of Nakawa to begin receiving the PDM money at their parish level. The other 13 had a few issues, whereby you could find there is a national identity card, but it does not tally with any member in the circle. So therefore we said, no, we cannot let the taxpayers' money fall into the hands that are unknown. We want Sir Simon Muyanga from Ntinda to be the one receiving this money of PDM. Because he's in the system can allocate his household, and therefore there can be a follow-up. The problem with former programs was there was what I can call duplication, or there was bringing on board people who don't exist.
Like there has always been. And
money would fall into hands unknown and it would get disappeared. Number two, money would come and reach at district level. Then there would be what you call the Kozamu. At district level, they would Kozamu. Then it comes to sub-county level, Nebozamu. Then it comes to the parish level, parish chief Nayozamu. Then the ordinary Ugandan would be receiving 10% of the 100% money which was disbursed. But now the Minister of Finance will be dealing directly with the circle at the parish level. Now, when these people have got there 100 million, of course some parishes are extraordinarily big.
So you think the 100 million is available?
Not only available, it is there.
Do you believe it is available?
Why wouldn't I believe it is there?
Have you checked these accounts and the money is available?
But your parliament passed a budget. Did it pass a bill? It passed the budget of
that. It can pass a bill. Now that they're even asking for clarification that they would have asked before passing the document, they're asking for clarifications now. And you know where they got the clarifications? In Ichankwanz.
You see,
but they never asked for these clarifications in Parliament where the minister presenting this was.
You see, the problem is me and you. Where you have got,
how do I become where
you have got a country which has got 40 universities or even 60 universities accredited by government, and you are still telling the population that the member of parliament should have senior 6 or its equivalent. And this is a person who has got to peruse a document which is 600 pages. So you are saying that someone who has got P7 but got a certificate of senior 4, certificate of senior 6 becomes an MP. What about amending the law to accommodate someone who is at your caliber to become a member of parliament and be able to scrutinize documents that are intellectual in nature? Because these PDM concepts, Simon, are developed by highly educated, high-learned consultants in our country and even from abroad. So how do you expect someone of an equivalent of senior 6 to interpret this document and make sense out of it? So the problem is you and me. Whenever the concern is to be
the problem is not me. Because I have known that what I can do, I have offered myself, and the voters have rejected me.
When
so it is the voters.
When the concern is being touched, they will say they are now raping the Constitution. But it is being touched for your own good. These are discussions we should bring on table. Simon, why are you paying school fees for your children? Would you
want them to understand?
Would you be happy when someone with an equivalent of senior 6 is the one interpreting national documents for them? Please. So when someone is asking for clarification from the president, he's right. Or she's right, because these are big volume documents which you are presenting in Parliament.
Why did he not ask the minister? This is where my question is.
You see, Simon.
And you know, when the whole Parliament comes and says they want to thank His Excellency the President, they also want to thank the head of the Secretariat, Mr. Galabozi, for these clarifications. But they are getting the clarifications after passing the budget. This is where my problem is.
You see, I have
understand what they passed.
Simon, I have watched our Parliament, and me and you could agree, though it's not a must, that we have got a few members of Parliament who debate and participate in debates on almost all topics on the floor of Parliament. True or false?
True.
Why? Because not every debate which comes on the floor of Parliament is a debate for Sir Simon, is a debate for Sheikh Kasim Kamudisha. Some debates are beyond our comprehension. and of course, there's no law which says that a person cannot seek clarification. Actually, I was very happy that these MPs asked for clarification. Because now, now they are equipped.
I think when a new government comes, I will not have, or maybe I will not have authority. If I get authority with some of the things, I think I may not be good.
Why?
Because displaying around. Now imagine if MPs of passed at this level are seeking for clarifications. How about the groups you have formed in Nakawa that you are mobilizing towards PDM?
And you see, that is why the PDM Secretariat, and I thank them for that, they have been ably involved in mobilization of PDM. MPs have been aroof. They have been aroof because these clarifications had not come to their fingertips. And therefore, since they have got clarifications, since they are now enlightened on the PDM, and since the president has politely asked them to join the campaign, I would be happy to see our MPs roll down and kunga or call people to come and be part of the PDM, because this is a program for Ugandans. MPs allocate, MPs do supervisory role. So it would be very, very unfair if they went to supervise what they don't have clarification on.
Does it cross to your mind once in a while? And I want to be honest, my brother.
You know, I've been very honest with you.
Does it cross to you once in a while that the government you serve might be a bit tired? Does it come to you?
You see, as I said earlier,
honestly speaking,
as I
the
said
alternatives
earlier,
are available.
as I said earlier, opinions are entitlements.
That's him.
They're entitlements.
That's him.
You see, you cannot be serving a government and you say it is tired.
But you will know that it is tired.
That would be stabbing yourself in the back.
No, but you will know that it is tired. You may not say it, but you know that it's tired.
I have not felt it. I have not seen it. But what I'm seeing is there is progress which is being done by the current government. And what we need is a combination of efforts, a consolidation of efforts by every player to ensure that whatever the government has projected comes into practice.
Your government is tired. Now we want to take it from me that this government is tired, and there are only two options to that kind of fatigue. One is that the opposition feels it should completely exit. They are working hard to make sure that they save you of the fatigue because you are tired. There is also the right-thinking members of society who are saying, no, while they are tired, they have moved. Let's have a polite exit. And those ones are what you call the standby generator. You know, you're joking about these things, but I can tell you, if a member of parliament can stand before the president and ask them to comment about the standby generator, the opposition group by his son, then that matter is growing. You just can't sweep it under the carpet.
I saw you somewhere.
People stood up to Mr. Museveni and said, hey, about this one. And then he told his people that those of us around his son have selfish interests, are looking for money. But I think he needs to see, you need to let him know, as other this is, the rallies. You saw what was in Kayunga yesterday. You think all of those young men were paid?
How I wish you had a picture of Kabale here.
Yes.
How I wish you had.
I can get the picture
Please,
of Kabale.
if you can.
Or Winnie, show me the picture of Muhoozi in Kabale. And then you say all these people were paid. That's why you're missing the point, that you think people are simply trying to save you of the fatigue, Kamugisha. Please tell the president, as his people serving him, that there is a feeling, and a genuine feeling, that he is tired.
You see, Sir Simon, you know, Uganda is a democracy. And being a democracy, freedom of expression is part of the fundamentals of the democracy we have in Uganda. Without fear of contradiction, I have seen it, and I'm part of people who think that the NRA and NRM government of 1986 has done a lot has stabilized the country because we are secure from border to border. We have taken strides in social services, though we still need to do much improvement. We have taken strides in infrastructure development, if we're talking about electricity supply in the country, talking about road network, especially for the major roads. But also we have become a pillar of stability within the region. And therefore, a section of people is saying that we have to be a bit conscious in terms of preserving, but also consolidating these gains already registered by the NRA and NRM government from 1986 up to then, led by President Museveni. And of course, people are saying that they have touched around, and of course, people are saying the standby generator could be one of the solutions in terms of consolidating and keeping together the achievements. Why? Because it seems for those who have been around the standby, General MK, let's be very, very open. He seemed to have a clear understanding of the core principles of the NRA, NRM. That is patriotism, Pan-Africanism, democracy, and socio-economic transformation. Number two, it seems he has got a quite clean and clear record of his service in the military. Because I have never read, and you agree with me, we haven't read a saga about General MK in any newspaper or even a whistleblower. He doesn't have a corruption saga, but also in my view.
Mr. Museveni saluted him on that. He said on corruption, he's tough. He
Very
said,
much
Mr.
so.
Museveni said, out of the many things he said there was some corruption, and you know, on that one, and that's the person the country is looking for.
And you see what
The millions that you people are seeing in your offices should stop.
How I wish I had those millions. And of course, what has eaten us? He can bring many more photos. He was coming in town. There he was coming now. What has eaten our country largely is corruption.
Hold on. Now, Mr. Museveni believes that all those crowds were paid, that they came here to Muhoozi for money, that they came here selfish interests.
I'm
the president.
I'm getting there. I'm getting
Tell
there.
the man the truth.
I'm
Tell
getting
him
there.
otherwise you are lying to him.
So of course, the clear record of General Muhoozi, but also his humbleness in character and his appreciation of both the old NRA concept, because he was born in that circle.
Yes, we all agree. We are born there. But we are saying you are tired.
And of course, having served in the military and at strategic level, where he understands the politics and security of the nation. Wherever Muhoozi stands, the crowds have to come to him.
And you told me something the crowds.
So
one thing giving me pain is that you, the RDCs, the ISOs and DISOs writing intelligence reports, you told me something that these crowds are looking for money. And we see the pictures are going up to the venue. Let's have a short break.
Moving forward, this would be very interesting.
Let's have a short break and return with Kasim.
This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya.
Election to have a grip on that younger population, which would be happy to see someone who identifies with them in terms of age, in terms of conceptualizing issues, taking lead. So the rise in my view, the rise of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba and MK movement is because there is that younger population which wants to see their very own somewhere giving direction and guidance to their population. So they look at MK, and of course his CV that we have looked at, his clean record of no corruption scandal, where the president even gave him credit and said the man, through his administration, has decisively defeated the corruption in the military. So the youth are saying, if he has defeated the corruption in the military,
You see, Kasim, complete that statement.
if he has defeated the corruption in the military,
If he can defeat corruption in
the military, where there is gunpowder, what about if after President Museveni, he becomes a president?
Not after. Not after. No.
You see,
for us, no, the statement has been that if he can defeat corruption in the army,
yes,
then he can defeat corruption elsewhere. And that's the only message that we want to hear.
Exactly.
And that's what we should tell Mr. Museveni.
So,
it's not about money.
So therefore,
who he is massaging.
the population has got their own messiah. The younger people are looking at General Moses Kainerugaba as the messiah of their generation. And you see, some of us are not worried that
the younger people have two. The young people have presented two young men from whom to choose. That's the young people.
Me, I know one.
No, as an analyst, but as me as a journalist, I know that the young people have presented Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu,
yes,
and Moses Kainerugaba, that these should be the leaders of ourselves. The issue will be who of these two takes majority of the youth vote. Who do they trust much with their hope and their future?
And so therefore, the NRM, in my view, should be happy that there's someone who has risen up and can easily mobilize the youth around himself. I can tell you, if General Moses Kainerugaba stood in your area, in your village, if he came passing by and made a stopover, within a minute, you will see the younger people converging around him.
Yes.
So he's a magnet. And so NRM should be happy that the weakness of not being able to pull the youth closer is now being mitigated by the rise of General MK. That's what the president was saying. He rose because of a weakness. But he also said that...
That's the only honest statement he made.
And he said
an honest one, that at least for he'd not rubbish it with, he would have said his opposition, because he said, because of weaknesses within.
Then he said number two, he said that, but around General Moses Kainerugaba, there are some. He didn't say all. He said there are some. Read the statement very well.
And he says his son is not aware. He says what General Moses doesn't know, that
there are some.
That people around him.
Some people around him. Some people around him. Therefore, you see, Sir Simon, me and you must agree that the President of the Republic of Uganda and any other president in the world is the consumer of all intelligence in the country. You never know. The intelligence must have picked something which MK does not know, or myself I did not know. But I can also state that, for example, I'm an RDC appointed by President Museveni, but MK is my friend, and I'm around him. I'm not looking for money, but what we are saying is...
Does he have the money?
What we are saying is, because his salary of a general is known, we are saying that...
Does he have the money to buy this crowd?
We are saying that after President Museveni, if we had MK as an alternative, there would not be any problem. No one is saying that General MK should push President Museveni out. No. We are saying next president. Next president after President Museveni.
Don't say no one is saying. There are a few who are saying, let's not wait.
You see, it would be their version, which is not mine. And therefore, when we are mobilizing the crowds, for example,
can we look at the crowds, the people in Changwanzi and their statements?
The crowd is in the Kawale Muyanga, by the way. We didn't give anything like transport refund on. We just had a message
and let your boss know. Let your boss know. Your boss does not know.
But if he has picked intelligence, you can't refuse it. He's the head of the state, he consumes.
Who says every intelligence is correct?
And how do you doubt the president's message? Simon, be careful. He picked intelligence, which is right.
I believe in the other things, but I disagreed with one.
It might be not Simon who is looking for money. It might not be myself. But intelligence has picked something. So we would be happy that the president has guided us. So can we clean our image as those who believe in MK? How
do you in NRM now address these internal contradictions?
I would not be the one to speak on behalf of the NRM because I'm not part of the NRM administration, and therefore I would be...
You are part of the NRM administration. You are not aware, because you are part of government. You're part of the NRM.
I'm serving the state because I'm appointed by the head of the state. But I'm not appointed by the party. So therefore, I'm not doing work for the party, and I would not be in the right position to answer the problem that you are raising. But what I could advise.
But as a leader, have you examined the weaknesses that Mr. Museveni implies in this statement?
As leader, I would rather say that it would be very, very prudent that the rise of MK and his movement be treated as a blessing for the continuity of the state and consolidation of the achievements registered by the NRM government for the last 36 or 40 years by 2026. And so, if there is a way that we can harmonize positions and move together as two teams, then the future of Uganda will be secured, as the manifesto slogan for 2021-26 was saying. And
if you fail to find a way of harmonizing, like I want to draw from your statements, if you fail to find ways of harmonizing your own positions, the positions will harmonize you.
I doubt whether it is possible, because the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the one who appointed General Muhoozi Kainerugaba as a senior presidential advisor on special operations, but also the chairman of the NRM party has, in his own statement, said that at the end of the day, these two teams will be one.
That should be sooner.
Because he said he's working on it with General Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
That should be sooner.
So therefore, there is hope.
Yeah, that should be sooner. If you delay, what I saw in Kayunga yesterday,
there is hope that as we move, there shall be consolidation of the two teams, and the future of Uganda will be secured and safer in the hands of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba after President Museveni.
We'll disagree at one point.
You know, disagreeing is healthy.
We'll disagree at one point.
Because you know Muyanga.
Consolidating the two teams.
I believe in possibilities. One, as I'm serving the government of President Museveni, but also General MK is our friend. He's a generational leader of our generation, and therefore you cannot rubbish off a group of people who have got a similar thinking like yours, who believe in patriotism, who believe in Pan-Africanism, who believe in democracy, socio-economic transformation, which is also your agenda when you want to achieve the bigger objective of the future of Uganda. So these two teams, in my view, believe in the same.
9 with Kasim Kamugisha, the Deputy Resident State Commissioner. I hope I have not landed you into trouble by the candidate truth. At least you are a bit okay. I'm happy you can say some truth. Others are fearing to say the truth. You can say some truth. You have said some truth. I'm not saying you have said absolutely the truth, but some truth. The others are fearing even to say the truth.
You see, Sir Simon Muyanga, you are my elder.
Yes.
We must agree that naturally there has to be a transition in Uganda. Naturally, it has to be
forced
there.
Or prepared?
Naturally.
Yes.
Because if it is forced, then it is artificial. But naturally it will be there.
No, I agree that it will be there. Forced or prepared?
For forced, I don't know, but I know naturally it will.
May I believe that they can be forced?
Now, the fundamental question should be, what if it happens? Yes, we have got a constitution which stipulates and lays down. But for the constitution to work, the immediate incoming must be able to consolidate the whole nation together. So therefore, some people are saying that much as we await a transition which is natural, but how bad would it be if there is preparation for that transition? Exactly. Because we need someone who can hold the country together.
How much
and that is why you see in Sebei there were crowds, in Kabale there were crowds, in Arua there were crowds, in Acholi there were crowds, in Buganda here for birthday there were crowds.
I want to believe
the country is together. I saw him in Busoga. in Jinja, they were crowded. So the country is together on the idea of a standby generator. And so it is a matter of time with the guidance